Hello, I'm Dean Zaris, founder and CEO of ClearFactr. Today we're going to dig into a particular use case for ClearFactr, portfolio analysis, but where every deal in the portfolio exists as a separate ClearFactr model. This is common in the world of alternative asset management, where transactions are often completely bespoke, with each transaction being in a separate spreadsheet. With a just released feature, this type of work just became easier and more powerful. We call this feature model interfaces. And yes, if you've ever coded to an interface in a programming language like Java or Typescript, this will click instantly. Simply put, when a model conforms to a particular interface, you can focus entirely on what it can do and not worry about how it gets it done. To keep this on the shorter side, we're going to skip the easy process by which you define an interface, but let's take a look at what happens once you have one. So over here on my desktop, I've got three things going on. I've got ClearFactr, I've got my development environment, IntelliJ in this case, and I actually have another deal in Excel. So I'm going to go back over to my model browser. I've already got it filtered, showing only 15 of 208 models that I have access to for one reason or another. But I've got it filtered to my demo models. That demo tag will appear on every one of these models, but as you see, some of the models also have other tags associated. But here's the new widget where I can filter down to the deal sensitivities interface. And what is that? Well, I see that the system figured out automatically that two of all the models conform to that. But what's in there? So if I scroll down to deal sensitivities here, so I've got four components of the interface. So it looks like any model that conforms to this interface can give me a deal IRR, a deal NPV, and it will accept a discount rate, a new discount rate, and a new initial investment. All right, great. So let's take a look at what these things actually look like. They're pretty straightforward. This one's a bit of a mess with stuff all over the place and a bunch of notes. So let's drill in about the NPV. For example, we don't know where that is exactly yet, so we'll use the function finder to find that. And turns out there are three of them in here. So here's one, here's another one, and here's one over here in some kind of sanity check. And now if we go over to deal number two, conforms to the same interface. It may look different. Sure enough, it does. It's kind of simpler. You can almost guess what's going on here. We've got our discount rate, the IRR, the deal NPV, and this looks to be the initial investment for a whole bunch of cash flows. All right, so let's go again back over to the dashboard. We've got our two models, and now we're going to put them to work. So this is live code over here. I'm going to just rerun it. We just connected to ClearFactr's API server, and a bunch of work was done at the API server and brought back into this Java code over here. So the first thing it did was it found all of the models that conformed to the specified interface, deal sensitivities. And just like we did over here, I've got two deals, and then the code just iterates over them and dumps some stuff out. So deal number one, you see the initial investment, 10K, the discount rate of 7%, and the computed NPV and IRR over here. Deal number two, 15K and some other stuff. And then lastly, for the entire portfolio, we've got a total investment, the 10 and 15 becoming 25, the total NPV, and a weighted average IRR. So that just takes the size of the investment into account when it looks at the two IRR numbers. So for the whole portfolio, 19.69%. Here's where things get a little more fun and certainly way more powerful. We called one other endpoint in the API. And we told that endpoint to basically run a scenario with the deals that conform to the interface. And we're having it bump up the deal size by 20% and also change the discount rate by 300 basis points. So now you see the investment of 10 over here becoming 12, the 15K becomes 18K, the discount rates go up 300 basis points, 7 becomes 10, and so on. And then for the total portfolio, we get some new statistics all around. So the total is now 30,000 for total investment. The total NPV has gone negative, and the weighted average IRR has dropped a lot. And just to double check and demonstrate what's actually going on behind the scenes, and keep in mind, we've mentioned this in other videos, that all of this happens completely in memory at ClearFactr's, at the server side of this program over here. And as many people as we could think of, 22 different people could be running this program all simultaneously, even with different input parameters. No one would collide. Everyone would get their own results. But let's take a look at deal number 2 and sort of recreate some of those scenarios. So deal number 2, we had the investment going up to 18K. And we changed the discount rate by 300 basis points. So that becomes 12.5. And it looks like we've got a new IRR of negative 5.31. And yep, there we go. And going from this direction, the NPV now negative about 2.5K. And there it is. Just for kicks, while we're here, if I made the discount rate 50%, then obviously things change a lot again. All right, I'm not going to save anything because I'm going to go back to this Excel file over here. I mentioned that earlier. So this is another deal, deal number 3. It's even more elaborate, and just scanning it over really quickly, I see some net cash flows. I see a couple products in the mix. There's a split, but somehow the initial investment gets split. If let's just say change that to 25. Then, okay, yep, the 50K is split between the 2 products. There's a cost of goods sold. If I say 20, all right, and all of this, we can see the model's responding to all that stuff. And it's computing a discount rate, an IRR, and a deal NPV. Well, actually, I'll close it out without saving it. Don't save, there we go. And I'm gonna import the original version of that. Okay, so I've selected my file. Let's make the screen a little bigger here again. Move the importer back over to the middle, give the thing a more conforming name like that, deal 3, say something over here. This becomes part of the description of the model. So we're also going to remember to add in the demo tag, because in the future we want to classify that way. So we're going to hit the import button. And it's actually doing a little reconciliation now at the back end, making sure that ClearFactr's results completely match what it found in Excel. And now we're going to take a look. And here we go. So here's the original version of deal 3, not the one that I was poking around with earlier. So we've got the 60% split. But with ClearFactr, again, we can demonstrate how that affects different things, right? Change the split to 25, and boom, these other things change like that, and so on and so forth. We've seen this kind of feature in other demos. So I won't save that. I'll just get back to the dashboard. So here's deal number 3, conforming to that interface. The system determined that automatically. The demo tag is showing up as we want. So now I'm going to go back over to IntelliJ, and I'm going to just simply rerun the program. I'm not going to change a single thing. And same thing now, that first endpoint went out and now found 3 deals. Here's deal number 3. There's the 50K, different discount rate compared to the other ones. And just like before, won't belabor this, totaled everything up. And now we can take a look at the sensitivity analysis done on that whole portfolio with now the 3rd deal. So the 50K becoming 60K, the 8.45 becoming 11.45, and so on. Total investment for the whole portfolio is now 90K. Total NPV up to 11,000 and change, and the weighted IRR nicely back up to 26.36. So that's the concept in action. Your own use cases may be way more complicated than this, but contact us for all the additional details. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.